All right, today we're going to be talking about military retirees, the various types of military retirees that exist, and how they can differ slightly in terms of your Space A eligibility under the regulation. Let's go. I want to start by reminding everybody that Space A eligibility is governed by DoD Instruction 4515.13, a document entitled Air Transportation Eligibility. This document is publicly available on the internet, and you can get to it just by searching that in Google, and it is very useful for folks who are learning about military space available travel. And I encourage everybody to get acquainted with this document. It's not the easiest thing to read, and you don't need to memorize it. You just need to become acquainted with it, and more importantly, know where to find it for reference. So back to the subject of military retirees. Under the regulation we just discussed, military retirees are eligible to fly space available. But first, let's discuss the types of retirees that are out there. Then we can get into how and when they're eligible for military space A. There are active duty retirees, Reserve National Guard retirees. There are Reserve National Guard AGR retirees, also known as Active Guard Reserve retirees. There are those who are medically retired. And finally, there are Gray Zone Reserve Guard retirees. Gray Zone retirees from the Army Reserve or National Guard are those service members with 20 or more qualifying years of retirement who have not yet reached age 60 or otherwise become eligible for retired pay. Now, with deployments, there are some qualifying deployments that can reduce that age 60 threshold. So there are some who are less than age 60 and drawing retired pay. And in their case, that makes them retired. So as you can see from the graphic, there are many ways someone might become a military retiree. Now let's organize these for the purposes of our discussion. For purposes of Space A travel, the regulation treats active duty retirees, Reserve National Guard retirees drawing pay, and medical retirees and AGR retirees the same. All of them are eligible to fly military Space A anywhere Space A is allowed. For all intents and purposes, as far as Space A is concerned, retired is retired. It doesn't matter which of those categories you retired from. You could be medically retired with 1 year of military service, and for Space A purposes, that person qualifies exactly the same as somebody with 30 years. All other provisions of this regulation address this group of retirees in the exact same way. But Gray Zone retirees from the National Guard and Reserve are treated a little differently. That is to say, they're eligible to fly Space A, but they are geographically limited. They are eligible to fly within the continental United States, CONUS, Alaska, Hawaii, and U.S. territories, but they are not eligible to fly to foreign destinations. Upon reaching age 60 or becoming eligible for retired pay, they are then considered retired and become eligible, like any other retiree, to fly anywhere Space A is allowed. And just to add on, for anyone who might be wondering, those retirees just discussed are all also eligible to fly with their lawful dependents. You'll have to check the regulation for the specifics. There are identification requirements, and dependents must be enrolled in DEERS, but the bottom line is you're able to travel with your dependents, and that is an awesome benefit. Now, here's a word of caution. We often see pop up on Facebook groups veterans who are retired, but also 100% permanently and totally disabled. They volunteer this information in the course of the eligibility discussion, and I would encourage any veterans who are retired but also 100% disabled to avoid bringing that into the conversation, and here's why. It can confuse passenger terminal staff about what constitutes your eligibility to fly. The only thing that really matters is that you're retired, and as a retiree, you're eligible to fly anywhere Space A is authorized. However, as a disabled 100% permanent and total veteran, you are geographically restricted, again, to CONUS, Hawaii, Alaska, and U.S. territories. So it's in your interest instead to fly under your eligibility as a retiree and just avoid bringing in the disability component into the conversation because, again, it can confuse the issue. I hope this information has been useful. If you're just getting started looking into military Space A travel, I would encourage you to check out my Space A Bootcamp series here. Just click on the link and it will take you to the 4-video series that I have put together to help folks just getting started. And if you find that useful, I'm going to ask you to share it with a buddy. If you have friends who are retirees or who might otherwise be Space A eligible, I'd appreciate it if you would share that link. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.